About 10 years ago, I was taking a trip to New Zealand, and there was a day I was traveling. I didn't really think I was gonna have the time to get in a run, but I made it a priority. And you know what? I actually discovered that there was a glacier 2 miles from the hotel I was staying at. And if I hadn't gone for a run that day, if I had decided I was too tired, or the weather was a little bit too warm that day, or I would just rather rest a little bit after my long car ride, I wouldn't have experienced such amazing natural beauty. And I feel like I'm experiencing exactly that today. It has been pouring rain in Denver, Colorado for about 48 hours, which is very rare for this part of the country. And I want to show you what I'm experiencing today, because sometimes you can really make a memory for yourself if you just commit to running through all kinds of weather. I usually run in this park, and I usually run across this sidewalk. You can't even see the sidewalk. It is completely submerged in all this flooding. It's pretty crazy. I remember another run that I went on in 2008 when I first moved to Washington, D.C. I was in Rock Creek Park, which, by the way, is some of the best trail running that you're gonna find in a major city anywhere. Highly recommend it. But I was running in Rock Creek Park during a tropical storm. Probably not the smartest thing, but I was running through feet of water, and it was so amazing because I got to have that experience, just playing in puddles, running through a storm. I felt like I was a kid playing on a rainy day. And I think running is such a great sport because it gets you outside in the elements. Whether you're struggling in the summer heat, running in a crazy rainstorm like this, or you're running in flooded areas and you're just getting to experience a little bit of extra fun. Running doesn't always have to be such a slog. Get outside, have some fun, and enjoy yourself in these wild and wacky conditions. Now, it's of course really fun to get out here and play in these conditions, but at the same time, be safe, don't do anything really stupid. But the hardest part of actually doing this is getting out the door. It can be really fun when you're out here, but it's not really fun motivating yourself to come outside when it's pouring rain, or maybe there's a snowstorm and you really want to get out there in that winter wonderland. But if you're struggling with actually getting outside in these conditions, I want to talk a little bit more about how you can do that in a more effective way. So, number one, do it for the right reasons. If you're not training for a really personal, strong reason for yourself, whether it's to get healthy, whether you have a really exciting running goal that you're going after, whatever it might be, make sure you're running for the right reasons, because that's always going to motivate you to get out the door and execute your run no matter what. And the next thing you can do is remember that once you're out here, it's actually pretty fun. Even I remember running at 5:30 in the morning when it was snowing in Massachusetts, very cold. But as soon as you're out there and you start warming up, you really start appreciating all of the natural beauty around you. And it's so worth it to get outside and have fun in that weather. And of course, the last reason to motivate you to get out the door and run that workout or go for that run, even if the weather isn't good, is that there's a strong mental toughness component to this. So yes, it's gonna be fun. Yes, it's gonna get you closer to your goals that you're excited about, but also it's gonna make you into a more mentally tough runner. You're gonna build the mental fitness skills to get through adversity, to work through the hardship of challenging weather. And the more of these little challenges you can structure into your running, whether it's getting up at 5 in the morning for a run, running in a snowstorm, running when it's pouring rain out, running when it's kind of chilly and I have to wear this, big rain coat that I don't normally like wearing when I run. I'd rather be running shirtless in my 1-inch split leg shorts, but sometimes it's necessary. And sometimes structuring those little pieces of adversity into your running is a really surefire way of making sure that you can get through any adversity, whether it's a workout or race, or even just getting up early or running through the rain.
I'm not that big into supplements, but I do love AG1 by Athletic Greens. I consider it my nutrition insurance, helping me cover all my bases so I know I'm not missing out on anything my body needs, especially when I'm training really hard. I try to eat really well, but of course, AG1 is that extra security that gives me peace of mind over my diet. 1 scoop per day, and I'm getting 75 vitamins and minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, antioxidants, and adaptogens. You can try it out too at athleticgreens.com/Jason, and they're going to throw in a free year's worth supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Check it out at athleticgreens.com/Jason.
Now, the other thing to remember is if you're training for a race, that race is most likely outside, and most likely you can't control the weather. So it's always beneficial to train through all different weather conditions because it's going to better prepare you for whatever happens on race day. Just think about all the different Boston marathons that have happened over the years and how different the weather can be. Some years it's 80 or 85 degrees. Some years it's 50 degrees and pouring rain or even colder. And if those athletes weren't prepared for that weather, they wouldn't be as tough out there, as mentally tough at dealing with that hardship and adversity. So it's a really great way at working on not just your mental toughness, but the specific demands of what you might encounter on race day. So no matter what the weather might be, as long as it's not dangerous, let's get outside, let's run in it, and let's embrace some of that adversity. Because at the end of the day, it is kind of fun. We're getting outside and we're doing things most people aren't doing. We're having this experience that most people are not having because they're inside trying to stay warm and stay dry. After all, this is just so much fun. Okay, I'm back in the car after my wild adventure outside. I felt like Forrest Gump. There was fat rain and rain that came in sideways. There was stinging rain. There's all kinds of rain. But if you're someone who doesn't like to run outside when it is rainy, here's a couple things that make it a little bit easier. So number one, make sure you have the right gear. I mean, this goes for winter running. It goes for any kind of weather conditions you might be experiencing outside. The right gear makes the type of run you're doing just so much easier to accomplish. And I was wearing a rainproof running jacket from Janji, which is a great brand. I don't have any affiliation with them, but they make really good stuff. The other thing to remember too is that if you are doing something like me, you are running from your car, I just dropped my kids off at school, then you got to protect your car a little bit from the elements. So I'm using a seat cover underneath here that's really helpful so I don't get my car seats soaking wet. And then finally, you might be wondering, what do I do if I can't fully warm up before my run? Because obviously I'm not outside in the soaking wet parking lot here doing all the floor exercises I would normally do before I go running. So what I usually do is I just do the standing exercises. Even if I have to do them in the rain, I'm gonna do my series of lunges and the leg swings and all of the standing exercises from the standard warm-up. I'll include that dynamic warm-up routine as a link underneath this video. So it is a little bit more challenging to run in these conditions. I fully recognize that, but if you have the right gear, if you can protect your vehicle so you're not gonna use that as an excuse, and then of course, get in the warm-up. It can be abbreviated. You can just do the standing exercises. You're still gonna put yourself in a really great position to have a lot of fun out there in those conditions.